Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Maverick Mindset Radio Show. I'm Adam Williams.
And I'm Ashley Muckenhop.
And this is the radio show for the dreamers and doers. It's for those who are willing to step into the arena.
Some call us the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers.
We don't accept the status quo. We leave the world better than we find it.
We approach each day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. We maintain a rational optimism about the future.
This is the Maverick Mindset Radio Show, brought to you by me, Adam Williams. I need to know what song that is that plays at the intro. People on Facebook can't hear it, but on the radio.
Oh, they can't hear it?
No, it's just on FM.
I think Joel and I picked it.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. I need it. It's like, so I've been watching the Bear. I'm still not done with season 3, but I find myself using that Shazam app.
Do you?
Because the what's it called? The soundtrack of that show is really good.
Oh, yeah.
I've
They're
added
good.
some songs to my pump up playlist from the Bear.
Yeah,
Oh man,
this season has a good playlist.
What is today? 24, episode 24.
It is.
All right, I'm excited. This is going to be a good one. We actually decided. I think that last week's show was probably the best one we've ever had.
I really enjoyed that.
I think we're hitting
Actually,
our stride.
I think the one before that was the best one that we ever
Okay,
had.
so last week was the best show that I've been on. The best show ever was the one that I wasn't here for. But so what we decided today is let's continue that conversation.
Yeah.
Because it was good.
Yeah, we were talking about topics and we're like, hey.
Yeah, and there was more that we wanted to cover, and we said, well, why wait? Let's get it out of the way.
So it's
I'm
part
excited.
3.
So what's our title?
Everything your entrepreneurial boss wish you knew, part 3.
Yeah, we're closing the loop today.
Yes. Yep.
Although I think the things that we've discussed in this 3-part series, they're trends. They're things that we talk about a lot on this show. They're pretty common themes for us, but we're kind of tying it all together. Are you excited?
I'm excited.
What are you
I like
excited about?
This topic. I like talking about it. I like to know.
No, I don't mean about the show.
Oh.
In your life, what are you excited about right now?
What am I? Oh, Christmas is coming.
And it is September 4th. Okay.
I'm so excited. It is fall. I love fall, and it's the holiday months, and we're doing a lot. I think the big thing, the things are picking up too at Pennywise, and that's exciting because.
Why is that exciting for you?
Because it's challenging.
Okay.
Because when things pick up and they get going, that momentum that you always talk about, then you have a tendency to throw more challenges my way, and that keeps me.
You know what's interesting? I was actually going to talk about that today.
Oh, really?
And I'm glad that we totally practiced and rehearsed
I
that.
know.
All right, but before we get into it, we're going to change this part of the show a little bit, because every week we get on the show and we say you can find us on Facebook at Maverick Mindset Radio, and we're on Spotify, and we're streaming live on YouTube. And of course, MaverickMindsetRadio.com has the merch, Maverick 10 for 10% off. That's the code. But here's the other thing we got to say now, because we're killing it on the show. We're doing great.
Yeah.
And if you're listening, if you're tuning in, share the show.
Yes.
Like, let's spread the word. It doesn't take much, just a couple little clicks. Share the show and tell people, hey, I listen to these guys, and it's awesome. Because I get messages like that all the time.
Yeah.
I love the show. I love the podcast. Some people who can't tune in live go back and listen to the recordings, and I'm getting all these messages like, dude, I'm like binging your show right now because it's so good, and it's what I'm listening to while I'm driving. So if you're tuning in, if you're listening, share the show. Spread the love. Spread the gospel of entrepreneurship that we're here.
Oh, I like that. Gospel of entrepreneurship.
Is that the first time? I say that all the time.
Really?
Wow. That's another thing we got to cover today. All right. So we're talking about leadership. We're talking about being part of a team. We're talking about working for someone who's a little bit crazy, a little bit off, but that's the misfits and the rebels and the troublemakers, right? That's what we're here to change.
And
the
last
world.
week we renamed me Mini Maniac.
Did we?
Yeah. You said you're kind of a maniac, and I'm like, ooh, I could be a mini maniac.
All right. I black out during these shows. I don't even remember what we say. I got to go back and listen to that recording again, and then I'll share the show. All right. So we're talking about leadership. We're talking about being part of something great.
Yeah.
Really, and it's fun because that's why I asked you what's got you excited right now, because it's like we just had Labor Day. Yesterday was the first day back after the long weekend. Felt like a Monday.
Kids are back in school.
Yeah. So I'm going to go out of order here on my notes because that was kind of a fun transition in. So one of the things that I give a lot of thought to is destination happiness, right? Like, I'll be happy when. Oh, I'll be happy when it's Christmas. I'll be happy when the kids go back to school. Yeah. I'll be happy when my paycheck hits my account. All of these things of, I'm not going to be happy now, but I'm going to be happy in the future.
Yeah.
It's a fallacy. And I give a lot of thought to this because there are days where I have the mistaken belief that it is my obligation as an employer to help make you happy. But it's an inside job, right? It's not something that I necessarily have control over.
Right.
But I do think that I can contribute to your happiness, and I think I can help you find it. And then I have off days, and there are days where I remove your happiness. Although we try and minimize those.
That's so polite. I remove your happiness.
I create a barrier. Yeah, that is a nice way to put it. So I've been thinking about this because I wanted to jump in because I had an action item that I thought of here that was really interesting. This is, and actually we were going to talk about taking breaks. That was going to be one of our initial topics on this show. And I was thinking about some of the ways that I take breaks, and for me, one of the ways that I get breaks is not like the big blowout vacation of the time away. Sometimes it's just that half an hour or 45-minute walk in the morning.
You told me to go walk around the block yesterday.
Did you?
Huh? No.
I gave that advice to somebody recently.
Yes, you said go.
Somebody was having a really rough time in their business, like cash crunch, employee issues, like just losing hope. And I said, man, this is going to sound dumb.
Yeah.
But get some nature.
Yep.
Like go outside and just walk around the block. And so I gave him that advice when we hung up. So I messaged him the next day. I'm like, hey, I didn't hear back. And like on my Facebook Messenger, it rang, right? Because you can call people on Facebook Messenger. And he's like, oh my God, dude, that completely changed my day. It completely changed the trajectory. And it was something that he and his wife were working on together in the business. So don't undersell the value of just getting out in nature and changing your physiology a little bit. But I think that's the important thing about destination happiness is it's about the journey and enjoying the journey.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, you need things to look forward to and you need things that excite you, but I believe that more days should bring you joy than remove your joy.
Yeah.
Right? I believe that you should have more good days than bad days.
Yeah.
I think it's a little Pollyanna to say, oh, I've got to love everything all the time.
Right.
And particularly in my job, it's got to be perfect every single day. I mean, that's never going to happen. You're never going to have a job where everything goes great. But I do believe that you should be getting more joy than misery out of your day-to-day, out of your job, out of your life. And so this is where I came up with this. So I was listening to The Gap and the Gain, which is a book by Dan Sullivan. And the idea is it's another book on just how to be a happier person. And one of the things that they talk about is you focus on the gain and not the gap, meaning focus on how far you've come, focus on how you've developed, focus on what you've achieved. Don't focus on how far you have to go. Don't focus on comparing yourself to others. I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
So where they went in this book was everyone has a different definition of success, right? I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that. That's one of the things that we talk about on this show is you define your goals, you define your own success, you define your own happiness. But what I really liked about what they suggested in the book was write down 10 things that are present when you feel happy, or write down 10 things that are present when you feel successful. You're thinking about this. You're all right. You're going to stop listening to me talk and you're just going to start doing this exercise right now. So it makes you aware of what brings you joy, what brings you happiness, and what makes you feel successful.
Well, and I think everybody's definition of what being successful means is different. And I think being successful is linked to monetary value. And for me, that used to be a few years ago, it used to be the same thing. I wanted a better job because I wanted more money, and that meant that I was successful. But it's completely changed, probably more so in the last year or two, that is not how I measure if I'm successful or not. Because now I think, especially compared to where I was, I'm incredibly successful, and it has nothing to do with...
Are you?
Yeah, because I'm doing...
By your definition.
By my definition. Awesome. Because I'm happy, And I do enjoy what I do every day. And I feel like I'm helping to make a difference. And I'm getting new experiences and opportunities. But more than any of that, it's a growth that has been visible to me. And that's more something that I would measure success than anything else, is that growth.
Yeah. Here's the cool thing about that, though. I think a lot of us define success by money and numbers.
Yeah.
But it turns out that if you're finding success in other areas, the money can be a byproduct of that. But I think we measure money because it's an easy thing to measure.
Yes.
Right? How much is my paycheck? What's it show on my tax returns? How much is in my bank account?
Yeah.
That's an easy thing to measure versus other things that really bring us joy and make us feel successful. So that's why I like the assignment of writing down 10 things. 10's a lot, right? But then you have the ability to filter new decisions through that list. And if an opportunity comes my way that isn't going to check most of those boxes, I'm probably not going to be happy. I'm probably not going to feel successful if I go and pursue that thing. So I thought that was really interesting. But the other thing that they say in the book is everybody's definition is different, which I agree with.
Yeah.
Except I think I found 2 exceptions to it.
Okay.
So let's riff on this for a minute. All right. The first one that I thought about is I believe that people feel more successful and more happy when they are faced with a challenge.
Yes.
I believe that's true for everyone.
I agree.
And we may not like to admit it, and we don't want to put ourselves in challenging or difficult situations, but the reality is if you avoid those situations versus facing them head on, and whether you complete the task or succeed in the mission or not, you feel good being challenged and stepping up to that challenge.
Yes.
And too many people avoid the opportunity. Too many people don't give themselves the chance to face a challenge.
Fear.
Whether it's a difficult task, whether it's a difficult conversation, whether it's a project or something that you're working on, too many people don't give themselves the opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
Because they avoid the challenge and they avoid the difficult thing rather than attempting the challenge or attempting the difficult thing, because that's going to be uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I would rather be unsuccessful and miserable but comfortable than uncomfortable and giving myself the opportunity to face a challenge. But I think too many people out there don't give themselves that chance.
Yep.
So I think that might be across the board. That
I agree.
When you're faced with a challenge and you succeed, by definition, you feel more successful and you feel happier.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
I agree with that. And I think even if faced with a challenge and you don't necessarily succeed in the way you thought you were going to, like you said, it's kind of about that journey, and that journey through that challenge too. You find there was some lessons and things that you appreciate.
For sure.
So I think, either way, I agree. We
All
agree.
Right. Good. Well, of course, you and I do, but we think similarly about this stuff.
Joel,
so
do you agree?
Joel, thumbs up from Joel. Thumbs up. Joel's gonna leave this show and go look for a challenge. He's gonna go challenge somebody.
He
to a
did,
fist
but
fight
he challenged himself to be in the play.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Right. And he succeeded. But all right, so that's one. Here's the other one that I think across the board, unless you're a crazy person, across the board makes people more happy and more successful. You ready?
Ready.
Helping other people.
Absolutely.
I believe that
100%.
everybody feels good when they help somebody else do something.
Yes.
And you can call it selfless, but it can be a little selfish. Like, yes, helping other people makes me feel good, and that's selfish, and that's okay.
Yep.
But I think that's the other area where I believe if you were writing your list of 10 things that make you feel happy and successful, 2 things that should be on that list are rising to a challenge and helping other people.
Yeah, it'd be one of my top 3. For sure. 100%.
I think that's across the board.
Yep.
So I gotta call Dan Sullivan and tell him his
I was
great
gonna say, I mean,
advice
if you
inadequate.
don't enjoy helping people, I would wonder and question you.
Yeah, I mean, it can be tough because sometimes we're pouring from an empty cup, right? Like it's difficult. You got to put on your own, oxygen mask first before you can help others, figuratively speaking. What is it going by out there? Is that an ambulance? I'm hearing that in my headphones. Can you guys turn it down out there?
Yes. Excuse us.
Okay, so I was thinking about those two things, and I was also thinking this is an assignment that I probably want to give to the people on our team of writing down 10 things where they feel successful. I think that's actually an easier question to answer than what makes you feel happy.
Yeah.
Because I think that's elusive for a lot of us. But I think if I went and made people make that list, I would be doing a good job as a leader to make sure that they get more of that in their job.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't actually sit and think about it. So to sit and think about, wait, okay, what makes me feel successful? What makes me feel like I'm doing something fulfilled?
You know what? And that's a good point, because there was another story that I wanted to tell, and I may have told this story on this show before, but it's one that I tell a lot because the lesson is really valuable. And this is going to come back to what we were originally going to talk about today of things that leaders need to do. So when I started my practice, there was another lawyer in our building, and we had, I don't know, 15 or 20 people in this building, lawyers and staff and whoever. And they used to make fun of this guy because every time he had the nicest office in the building. Nice. It looked like the Oval Office. Nice. And every time somebody walked in there, he would be staring out the window. And they'd make fun of him. Like, he's just sitting there staring out the window. Yeah. What they didn't realize was that's where the brilliance comes from. Mm-hmm. Like, giving yourself that space and that peace to just sit and think. And this guy's a lawyer, so he's got to come up with creative things. And it's a a job that occurs mostly in your mind. But I think taking that, I call it staring out the window time. Yeah. And I need it in my life now, where I sit and the inbox is closed and the phone is on Do Not Disturb, although my phone is always on Do Not Disturb. And you just give yourself the opportunity to sit and think.
Shut the noise out.
If you're looking for something to fill that space, I think this exercise would be really effective, of sitting and writing 10 things that make you feel successful. Yeah. And I believe that your list will include helping other people and facing up to challenges.
That should be the action item for today.
Yeah, we got it out of the way early on. So I think that's really important. And for me, like, I know that I need adventure, and I know that I need variety, and I know that I need to try new things. Like, those are all things that make me feel successful and happy. Yeah. I think adventure in particular is that's one of my core values, and that's something that I look for a lot. So if I'm running things through that filter of what makes me feel successful, it really, like, those are big on the list for me.
You know what surprised me when I was thinking about it is I'm not a person that, like, change scares me.
It scares everybody.
But
you're not special.
Right. So change scares me, like everyone. But with work, I need that change. That's what's, like, I need that. I can't, like, things can't be monotonous or the same, or then I start to feel unfulfilled. So I crave or need that change in order to feel challenged. Like, I can't sit and do the same thing every day without there being some type of...
That's one of the challenges of working for someone like me, is not everybody's like that.
Yeah.
Right? There are people that work for us, and there are people that we are recruiting that need that stability and consistency and predictability. Yeah. And in those roles, I know that about those people, and I try and provide that. But it is against my natural tendencies to do that. Yeah. My natural tendency is, let's blow this up and rebuild it and try something new and make it better and improve on it and experiment with new things. I was talking to a friend yesterday. I called him for some advice on some marketing thing, and he was telling me about a new opportunity that he's pursuing, and he tells me about it, and he goes, and it's only $7,000, and I hope it works. And I said, dude, do you remember? Like, we've been friends. This guy and I got fired from the same job in the same day. The summer before law school, he was going to grad school. I think he's a year behind me, so he was going into his senior year of college, and we were servers at this pretty nice restaurant. We got fired on the same day. Now we've both got pretty successful businesses. He lives on the lake. I don't. But I was telling him, speaking of the gap in the gain, I'm like, dude, do you remember when we couldn't take a $7,000 risk? Like, do you remember when our businesses were not in a position to put a $7,000 experiment out there and see what happens, right? So what I told him was, go and find a $20,000 test. Like, let's go push yourself. Yeah. $7,000 to you is nothing. Yeah. So swing for the fences, right? But I thought that was really cool, and that was a fun conversation to have with him. Okay, what do you want to talk about next?
I wanted to. Go ahead.
Well, it kind of relates to this. So one of the themes that actually. Yeah, one of the themes that I talk about is open and honest communication. Yeah. Right? I think that's really important in a workplace, in a relationship, in a family, with friends. So open meaning you're willing to share things, and and honest meaning, well, honesty, right? So I had two experiences like this yesterday. The first one, we had an employee come to me and Jackie in confidence about something, and she shared this piece of information and said, if we had 200 people on this team, I probably wouldn't bother you with it, but we've got 10, and I just want to share this with you. I've got this thing going on that may affect my job. And I told her, I hope that when we have 200 employees, I'm still having these conversations.
Having that conversation. Yeah.
Why would I not want to have this? Like, you're a human being, and there's things in your life as a human being that affect you personally and will affect your job, and I want to hear about that. Right. The other one we had is we have a couple candidates right now that we're recruiting, and we sent out our written interview. Yeah. Did you see this thing?
No, I haven't seen this. Is this different than the?
So we're recruiting. This particular role is a tax strategist role, and so she's made it through an interview with me and you.
Yep.
And then we sent the written quiz, and we sent some videos to watch. And we say in the written quiz, this will probably take you about an hour. Yep. She sent me back 15 pages of answers.
Does not surprise me.
Right. Yeah. Well, you know her. But also, it was really interesting because she kind of poured her heart out into this interview, like kind of some personal, difficult stuff. Right. She was very open. Could be a red flag if it was the wrong way. But she also admitted that, like, I felt very welcomed by all the people that I've talked to in your business. Yeah. I feel like the people in your business actually care about me and care about your clients, which is, that's our culture. So she said, I feel okay sharing this. And then she says at the end of like this 9-paragraph rant, althoug't if I got it wrong, sorry, my bad, right? Oops. So I thought those are really good examples of, like, I know more about this woman that I've talked to for 30 minutes and read 15 pages of her writing than, like, a lot of people that I've known for years that I'm acquainted with. So I thought that was really cool. So that open and honest communication, we welcome that, right?
Well, and for me, it started in the interview, because it's what, everybody puts on their best in an interview, right? So it's like...
You would think so.
Well, yeah. So it's, they answer your questions kind of...
They give
monotonous.
Interview answers.
They give interview. And it's like, no, I don't want to know, like, how you would answer this and work-wise, business-wise. Like, how would you as a person... Like, I want to get to that part. Like, I want to know you. Because that's the person you're going to spend every working day with. That's the person that you're going to be, because you can't uphold your interview self forever, right? So I want to know the person that I'm going to be talking to every day, and that's going to be part of our team. Like, answer in that way. And again, very open and honest. It was like, yeah, okay, so now I know you. Now I know, getting an idea of how your brain works, what you've been through. So what makes sense to you? And
I think being a genuine person and being true to yourself, which is, it takes some maturity and some experience to get to that point. But I think that's important in a workplace. I think it's important for a leader to encourage that from people. And I don't think that happens a lot. I still think that there are people in many workplaces who put on this front, either intentionally because they're trying to hide who they are, or maybe they're just not comfortable with who they are. But I want to encourage that. Yeah. Right? I think your journey of self-discovery is important to me as a leader, because I'm on my own journey, right? Hopefully, like, I know that I am, and I'm very intentional about it. I hope that other leaders and employers are. I think that's an important.
Well, and I like that you said that, and that was something I want to touch. Jackie and I were talking yesterday, and one of the things that she said was, I appreciate that you understand that I'm learning and growing too. And I felt like that was such a...
She's so good.
I know. And I was like, it was such like a moment of her saying that, like, yeah, because it's the truth. And I think we look at employers and we hold them almost like they're not human. And so to be vulnerable enough to say, like, as a leader, because she has now stepped into that role, to say, hey, I'm learning and growing too. I'm not always going to get it right. And there might be something that I can learn from you. And it was just like a moment of, like, I relatable, right? Like, we hold our leaders here. And it was a moment where she came down and was like, hey, there are things, like, I'm not perfect at this. And thank you. She was like thanking me for recognizing that. And that's
great. Open and honest. Honest. So here's my perspective on that. And it's funny because this was actually in my notes preparing for this show, is I, as a leader, as the founder, as an owner of the business, have a certain expectation for myself that may not actually be reality.
Yep.
Right? So I have this story in my head of what you guys expect from me as a leader. And so I feel obligated to say, you working for me need to understand that I don't always have it figured out.
Yeah.
I'm a human being. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm still learning. I'm still growing.
Right.
I'm still gaining experience. So I don't always have it figured out. Now, I think in my head, I think that you guys expect me to have it all figured out and have all the answers. Do you think that?
Sometimes, yeah, but you're
no,
very quick to say no, but you're very quick to, in those moments, it's usually when when you say, why are you yelling at me? I'm trying to figure this out. And I sometimes have to take a step back and be like, I was like, wait, he is human too. And he's figuring out this big thing. And usually it's when we're you've torn something down and building it back up. And it's like, wait a second, like you have this expectation that you're supposed to have the answer and be perfect and know exactly. And
yeah, but here's the secret. Nobody has it figured out. Nobody does. We all think that other people have it all figured out. And we think that other people have the answers, especially if we work for those people. But the reality is no one has it all figured out. But but the important thing, the difference between successful and unsuccessful people is the willingness to figure it out.
Yeah. I'm
willing to figure it out. Yes. I'm willing to say, I don't know.
Yep.
Actually, this is I'm focused on getting my pilot's license right now.
Nice.
And so I got to take a written exam, and then there's like a oral exam and a check ride where you go up with a FAA official, some sort of professional person who's done this before. And it's interesting because on the written exam, I mean, it's a multiple choice test, but on the verbal portion of it where they're asking you questions, and they actually have the results from your written test, so they know what you got wrong. The best practice is to say, I don't know, but I can go and figure that out.
Yeah.
Or I can go and get that answer, or I know where to find that answer. And they'll actually let you slide on that.
Yeah.
That obviously not on super important stuff, but there's so many regulations and laws that you have to know and best practices that you have to know to get your pilot's license, but you can actually tell the person administering your test, I don't know, but I can go and find that answer.
Yeah.
And that actually scores you points. And I think that's true for life.
Yeah.
Saying, I don't know, but I'm going to go and figure it out, and I'm going to go find the answer.
Yep.
So I think it's really important for a leader, to convey that confidence, not necessarily in the answer, but in their ability to get the answer and their ability to figure it out.
And I think sometimes when things are difficult, I have confidence in knowing no matter what, because I've heard you say it and I've watched it over the ups and the downs over my time here, that no matter what happens, you'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. So there's not like a fear of something, like it's just like okay, yeah, but answer somewhere, and if anyone can go get it, I know you're going to go find what it is, no matter what it is.
You as a member of the team, you have to have that confidence in the leader.
Yeah.
You have to have confidence in your leader's ability to figure it out.
Yeah.
And I think that's sometimes lacking.
Yeah.
But let's go back to open and honest communication. If you're uncertain, have the conversation.
Yes.
Say, hey, I know you don't have it all figured out, but here's what you said, and when you said it, you didn't seem so confident, or you were questioning, or I have my own questions that I'd like to have answered on this. So as an example, in our business, I think one of the things that makes me successful is my ability to make a decision without 100% of the information.
Yeah.
I think too many people wait to have all of the information possible.
Yes.
They wait to have perfect information and all of it at their fingertips, but that never really happens. So that keeps people frozen. That it prevents them from actually moving forward. So I'm going to get to the point where I've decided I have enough information to make a decision.
Yeah.
I'm going to make the decision, and I'm going to proceed with confidence in that direction. But I think it's really important to make sure that decision is examined.
Yeah.
And to make sure that the leader does have the correct information or the important pieces of information.
Yeah.
So I have no problem with people questioning that.
Yeah.
But this is a challenge when it goes the other way, when somebody else makes a decision. And we talked about this on the last show. of if I'm questioning, saying, well, on what did you base that decision?
Right.
Or what information do you have? Or what criteria were you using? Or how were you thinking about that? It seems like I'm pushing back and telling you no.
Yeah.
When in fact, I'm just trying to make sure that we've got the information that we need to make
Yeah.
the right decision, and that we made the right decision for the right reasons. And I welcome those discussions. I welcome that challenge.
Yeah.
Because maybe I missed something.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be great. And why would you do me the disservice of not making sure that I know everything that I need to know? And so I want you to question that, and I want you to make sure that I've made a good decision.
Yep.
And I also think that, and we talked about this on the last show, when I tell you what to do, I usually won't tell you how to do it. I'll let you figure that part out.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what to do, and I'll tell you why it's important.
Yep.
I want you to understand that, because one, it's going to bring you some clarity, and two, the next time something similar but not identical comes up, you'll be able to figure that out.
Yes.
So I think that making sure that you understand how I came to a decision helps you better execute on that
Yeah.
decision.
And I think a lot of times people tell someone what to do, but not the why behind, or why it's important. You said it's important for you to know why that's important. And I think that that's something that needs to be conveyed to people, because if they don't understand why it's important, they feel like they're just doing something because they were told to.
Yeah.
But to understand the importance behind it, or what it can do when it's done, is, I think it helps to motivate or make that person want to do it. Or
You know what's made me better at this?
what?
My kids.
Yeah. What? Why?
Go clean your room. Why? Because isn't an answer.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna light your toys on fire. But they like, you do have to explain it, and you do have to put it in their
Because they
best
need to,
interest.
yeah, they need to understand
it, yeah.
why is this important, because to them it's not like, why do I need to do this right now? And I always say, I feel like sometimes that the employee and the leader role, it's almost like a parent and child. You almost like, and I don't say that in a derogatory way. I say that is because it's a learning situation.
There are a lot of parallels.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Okay, so I want your input. I want you to question. I want you to understand why I made decisions. I want you to understand my thought process on there. I think that's really good. You know, there was another thing on, was it episode 22 that you and Chrissy did? We're on
21.
21.
Yep.
So there was a you told a story of how you were going through a bunch of crap and buying your house, and you were scared, and I told you to have some faith.
Yes.
In me, right?
Yep.
It was a great story.
Yep.
I wish I remembered that conversation.
Yep. I remember it.
I remember where I was sitting during that conversation. So I think that's really important, because it goes back to what I was just talking about, of making sure that you have confidence in your leader. Mm-hmm. But here's what you left out of that is, like, I will hold up my end of the bargain.
Yeah.
But you need to hold up your end too.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to do this for you. I'm not going to rescue you. I'm not going to hand you something.
Right.
I'm gonna play my role in this. I'm gonna take 100% responsibility for my side, and
Right.
you've got to take 100% responsibility for your side.
Right.
And I think that's something that's lacking right now. Is too many people, they have the victim mindset. They're waiting to be rescued. This is part of the reason that we give the Power of TED to all of our new
Yes.
employees, to teach them the empowerment dynamic, and to teach them to coach and create and not wait to be rescued. So I think that was an important thing that you left out of that story, is you have faith in me and you trust me to lead, but you still have work to do.
Yeah.
You've still got to hold up your end of the bargain.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important as a leader to make sure those expectations are communicated clearly.
Right.
And probably recommunicated.
Yeah.
And probably having you repeat back what I just said.
Yes.
And then getting feedback from me, good and bad, constructive feedback, recognizing good things, finding ways to improve.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's part of the dynamic there of, you've got to have faith in your leader, but you've also got to be willing to execute on your own and hold up your end of the bargain, and have faith in yourself to actually do it.
Which is hard for people to have faith in themselves to.
So that's where the leader comes back into the conversation.
Yep.
And tries to build you up a little
Yeah.
bit, right? I think that's an important leadership characteristic. So I'm watching the Bear. We talked about that at the top of the show, and such a great show. So I'm in. Is it season 3 that
Season
just came
3,
out? Yeah,
yep.
this came out a couple months ago, but I'm still getting through it. I haven't binged the whole thing yet. But when they open for service, they have all the front of house people, in the dining room, and Richie, the cousin, is trying to like motivate them and inspire them, right? So this is the guy. He has made a huge transition through this show. He's become a new person.
Yes.
He's gone from he still swears a lot, but he's gone from like wearing t-shirts to wearing suits, and he
understands why it matters.
Yeah, he got experience working in a really high-end restaurant, and I don't remember what caused this, but he at the open, when they were getting ready for service, he had his notebook and he was fumbling through it and he was trying to find the words, and then the other chef just sort of stepped in and rallied the troops, right? And he said, like, that wasn't my best work. And I think that's really important of showing up in that moment to rally the troops a little bit and align everybody and give some people some confidence.
Yeah.
So can I give you some inside baseball here? This is a new trick. This is a trick.
Okay.
Because I'm manipulating you guys. But no, there's a new phrase that I've started using.
Okay.
I need you to blank, right? I need you to step up. I need you to fill this role. I need you to do this thing, right? So I think it brings a level of vulnerability from a leader that is not comfortable for many of us. And especially if we are the founder and entrepreneur, like we're used to doing it all on our own.
Yes.
So to show some vulnerability and say, hey, I need you right now, I think is also really empowering to the employee. Mm-hmm. But we've got to make sure that the employee has that belief in themselves.
Yeah.
And chances are, if I'm coming to you and telling you, I need you right now, what's implied in there is, and I believe you can do it.
Which is why I'm coming to you. Yeah.
But I think that we should go from that being implied to that being actually expressed.
Yeah.
So I need you to do this right now. Like, I need you in this moment to help me with this thing. And it's an important thing, right? I'm not gonna say, I need you to take out the trash. I'm going to say, I need you to fill this gap that we have right now, or I need you to solve this problem or fix this issue or deal with this difficult thing. And I believe you can do it, and here's why.
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of transform that ask a little bit?
Yeah, completely.
Rather than saying, call that angry person, say, hey, I need you to put on your customer service voice and care about this person and make the phone call. And I think I'm asking you to do this because you're a kind person who generally cares about our clients, and you come up with creative solutions to fix these things.
And remember how you said earlier that it's probably a universal thing that people measure their level of success by whether they can help people. So if someone's saying to you, I need you, you're almost, right now you feel like, well, I'm helping this person.
Mm-hmm. Feels good.
And it does. Now you're like, oh, all right, like, of course I'm going to do that because you need me.
Yep. All right. So we talked about communicating expectations and just communication in general. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, because I find that when I share this with people, all right, so I spend a lot of time reading and studying and working with other successful people, and I steal their ideas. We call it R&D, rip off and deploy. Normally it's research and development. It's a little MBA humor for you. So rip off and deploy. So I don't know where I came up with this idea, but I'm pretty sure I was reading a book just in general about gratitude and leading with, it may have been the book Leading with Gratitude. Mm-hmm. So we started Thank You Thursday.
Yes.
And that was really a thing for me, just to be more intentional about expressing gratitude to the team. Like, what a silly little thing. What an easy change to make.
Yeah.
And it got kind of fun because I would go in our team chat and say, on Thursday, thank you Thursday to so-and-so for doing this thing, right? Yep. Thank you Thursday to KP for ordering the taco bar for our team lunch, right? Or for helping this client, or whatever it is, right? So I was amazed at the number of people that I told that to, and they're like, whoa, I'm stealing that. That's a really good idea. Because we find ourselves not being mindful enough and not feeling enough gratitude, not expressing enough gratitude with our team. So there are probably at least 10 businesses in America that have already stolen that idea from us, right? Here's where it got really cool. Someone stole that idea and then made it better. So they created, I don't remember what they called it. I think they called it like the gold star bucket.
Nice.
So they created, and she's fun. This is a law firm in California, and she is very aware of the fact that her team is very food motivated.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
So they created a Google form, and you can go on and you can nominate someone else in the business for doing great work. And at the end of the month, they take all the nominations and they buy lunch for one random nominator and one random nominee, right? So every nomination for doing something great in the business, they provide a meal at the end of the month.
I like the food idea. That's good.
Well, so I stole that idea.
Yeah.
So she took my idea and improved upon it, and then we're taking the idea back, and now we have the penny jar.
Yes.
We just launched this on Friday. And in addition to sharing publicly when somebody does a great thing, we've got this Google form where you can go on and you pick your name and you pick the person's name and you say what they did.
Yep.
And for us, we try to tie it to an outstanding customer experience or one of our core values or one of our guiding principles. Like, how are you living the things in our business that we want you to live? So we launched this thing Friday at like noon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We had 37 nominations between then and now. Well, between then and yesterday afternoon. So like
That's good.
1.5 business days, we had 37 people on the team go in and take 7 seconds to show some appreciation for what someone else has done.
Which means people are noticing what you're doing. So it's kind of like,
I think it's important to recognize
well, it is
that,
because
right?
a lot of people, you think that you're going to work and you're doing things and nobody's noticing what you're doing, or maybe you have an impact on somebody you don't even realize what you did does.
Yeah.
So for them to recognize that, I think it's important.
Here's where it got even better. Here's the benefit that I wasn't ready for. Is I now, as the person who's seeing these results come in, I'm more aware of what's going on in the business. So when I have a relatively new employee that nominates two other employees, two separate nominations, it says, oh, when I started, this person made me feel so welcome, or this person answered my questions that I thought were stupid, or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So now I have my finger better on the pulse of what's going on in the business, which has been, it makes it easier to lead.
Yeah.
I have a better grasp of the things that are bringing people joy.
Yeah.
Again, let's find more joy and remove more barriers to joy. And here we are. These things were not making it in the Thank You Thursday chat.
Right.
But they're making it on this form that I can now go and share with the rest of the team. Not all of the details, but some of the details and the encouraging stuff of like the good stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
That form, Chrissy made that form without me even asking her to.
Yeah, it was a good form.
Probably took her, it was a great form. probably took her, 10 minutes to create this thing. And what a huge impact that has had on the business less than a week into it. So I'm really excited.
Something
about
that people might think is insignificant actually has all these added benefits that you didn't even realize that it would.
There was a pleasant surprise there for me, certainly. You know what also is interesting and kind of fun, and maybe people are just doing this to brown nose a little bit, but I've gotten a couple nominations, which is exciting. Like, being the business owner is a pretty thankless job. Generally speaking, it's isolating and thankless. Let's not sugarcoat it. So it's nice to have a couple people jump in and show some appreciation for some different things that I've done, which is great as the leader too.
It is. I mean, we laugh, but you do make a good point. For some reason, the boss, leader, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call it, usually does not get the recognition that as being part of the team. There's always they're outside of it. So that, you know what I mean?
So let's bring that back to open and honest communication.
Yeah.
One of the things that happens as a natural result of a business growing and a team growing is you get these silos or you get these cliques, right?
Yes.
And it's really important for our business and our culture to eliminate those as much as possible.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's really important, that we want everybody on the same page. We want everybody working as a team. So yeah, I haven't figured this out.
Yeah.
Like many other things, but I haven't figured out how to really show people that my door is open.
Yeah.
It's not always open, but it's open. If you need me, you can get access to me, and it may not happen immediately, but same day if it's really important, or as soon as this meeting ends if it's really important, or if it's not so urgent, but it is important, we can let's go out to lunch this week and discuss it, right? So I think that's been that's something that I haven't figured out. Like, that's something that I can say it over and over and over and over again, but I don't have the opportunity to act on it as much as, and to really demonstrate it versus just saying it.
Yeah.
So if anybody has the answer to that out there in the world and has that figured out, like, maybe it's just my personality. I seem not open to things. Could very well be my personality. But I think that's something that I try to encourage more in the business of like, bring me the things. And we talked about this on the last show with the photocopier. Right?
Yes.
So it could be work things, it could be not work things, but you and I talked about this for a long time yesterday. A big part of my job is fixing things and solving problems.
Yes.
Like that's one of my strengths.
Yes.
And I try to put myself in that role. So if you need a shoulder to cry on, I probably don't have the softest shoulder, but it's there.
I've cried a few times.
You may need to stand on a stool. But if you're really looking to, usually what happens is when you are in a bad situation, if you're dealing with problems, you have this negativity bias and this focus on what's going wrong. And this sounds harsher than I intended to, which is probably part of the reason people don't come to me. But you got yourself in that position by thinking certain things and by doing certain things. And if you're in that mindset of the problem-focused mindset, it's very difficult to transition to the solution-focused mindset and to focus to the creative and the positive, right?
Yes.
I mean, we all have that. This is part of the reason that I have my own advisors and coaches is because I'm in the thing and I can't figure out how to get out of the thing. I need someone external to coach me through that. So I think that's part of the reason that it's really important to bring this stuff up is you could spend hours or days stuck in a thing that I could get you out of very quickly.
Yes.
Now, one thing that I'm working on is not just jumping right into the solution. And we've talked about this on prior episodes as well of like, let me listen, let me understand where you're coming from and why this really matters to you. And if you want the solution, I can provide you with the solution. Right. So this was another, man, as disorganized as I am for this show, a lot of this stuff is tying together here. So another, in addition to the phrase of I need you, right? The other phrase, and I'm pretty sure I learned this one from Jackie, is asking a different question. And that question is, how can I help?
Yeah.
Right? So when my kids are crying, I don't necessarily jump in and say, what's wrong?
Yeah.
But I say, what do you need? Or how can I help? And they may not have that answer.
Yeah.
They may just be sad. But I'm at least going to start with that perspective of, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And you'll start to notice this. You'll start to notice Jackie saying this more often.
Yeah.
She's really, really good at it. But that question of how can I help? How can I make this better?
Yeah.
What do you need from me? If you have that answer, great, I can provide it. If you don't have that answer, do you need me to help you come up with the answer of how I can help?
Because sometimes a lot of people don't know what they need to make it okay. They know they're in this place, but what is the, like I said, they don't know what the solution is.
Can I share a pet peeve?
Yes.
I've been pretty positive this show. I'm gonna share a pet peeve.
Let's bring it back to Ria. No.
Yeah. There was another lawyer I used to work with, and the receptionist answers the phone, calling for the lawyer, get on the intercom, so-and-so's on the phone, and he would pick up the phone and say, hello, can I help you? And it's like, well, yeah, you can help me. Yeah. That's why I called you.
Yeah. How may I help you?
Right? How can I help you?
Yeah.
How can I help? Not can I help? Of course you can help me. That's why I'm calling you.
Yeah.
That used to drive me crazy. I was not open and honest, and I never shared that feedback because he was a really experienced attorney. But that used to drive me crazy. Can I help you? Yeah, duh. Right? How about how can I help? And that again, like words matter. Words are important.
Need?
So that difference there, I think is really important, and I think it's a key phrase that I've started implementing. And I think how that helps me is not just being present, but being positively present.
Yeah.
Being constructive and creative and forward-looking and positive in general, which again, most people tend to be critical and have this negativity bias. It's a survival instinct in us. So conditioning yourself to find the positive and find the solution. Yeah. This is one of the ways that you can do it by using a simple phrase of how can I help?
Yeah.
And this is, Jackie's going to ask me it 10 times today over different things probably, but I think that's really important for a leader. But here's the other thing. How often do you find yourself asking that of your boss? How often do you come to me and say, how can I help?
True.
What do you mean true? I asked a question. It wasn't true, false. I said, how often do you do it?
Oh, not. I answered it in my head.
How often do you do it? Not.
I was answering. Well, I was thinking, I'm like, how often do you do that? Like, true, I don't.
Yeah. So
I don't.
here's my career advice of the day. There are themes on this show. There are things that we talk about repeatedly. There are themes in our business. There are things I talk about repeatedly. Outstanding customer experience.
Yep.
Caring about our clients. Getting good reviews. Like recruiting. Like there's things that I talk about a lot. And you had the rule when you were my assistant. What was the rule?
What?
That if I complained
3 times.
Then what?
Then just do it.
That's it. If
I didn't have to ask,
if
just
I
do it.
complain about something 3 times, you had the right to fix it.
Yes.
Right? That you had, I guess you had a different mindset then.
Yeah.
But I think that's the important thing. Like if you hear themes and if you hear things coming up repeatedly.
Yeah.
If you went to your boss and said, how can I help? I am literally going to wipe a tear off my cheek. I may hug you, and I don't hug, especially in the workplace, but I'm not a hugger. I hate hugs. But there will be a moment of like, I can already feel my heart rate changing just imagining this conversation. It's the power of visualization. But imagine doing that in your workplace or anywhere, in your family, in your relationships.
People don't ask that. That's so weird.
You know what?
Weird, right?
Weird is probably the answer, because let's bring it back to how fulfilled we feel when we help other people.
Yeah.
So rather than rescuing and thinking I have the solution on how to fix it, opening up the conversation to how can I help? So now you're putting yourself in a position to improve somebody's life and make yourself feel better in the process.
Yeah.
Whew. That's good stuff. We've flown through this show.
We did.
This has been a
Maybe
good
we should just fling through every show.
No. It's funny because you don't appreciate anything I do. You don't appreciate how much preparation I do for the show. I listen to so much and I consume so much in getting my thoughts organized for this show.
Yeah, I just feel like I'm a talker, so I can just fly by the seat of my pants with it and just kind of go. But I did appreciate, I will tell you when I appreciated it, when I had to sit in that chair and Christy was on the opposite. And I'm like, I need to prepare and I need to get this all together. And I'm like,
it's not easy being me.
No,
it is. Joel's laughing at that too. Joel, how many hours per week are you on the air? 15. Yeah, I do 1 hour a week. Joel does 15. Like, so he's like, oh, an hour a week. Yeah, I could do that in my sleep. Thanks, Joel.
But yeah, I appreciated it once I had to be in that position. But isn't that the thing? You don't appreciate what somebody does until you have to do what they do.
There's some truth to that. Putting yourself in their shoes. I think.
Can I be the boss for a day? I'll appreciate you so much more.
What would you do? What would you change if you couldn't fail? What would you do if you had that opportunity?
What do you mean if I couldn't fail?
Yeah.
Like if nothing I did was wrong?
Right.
How would I run my day?
Yeah. If I put you in my seat and said it's yours for a day, a week, a month, what would you do?
Well, office-wise,
I don't know. Just what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
So I would make sure like every morning. We know this. Everybody knows it. I'm just saying, I'm not a fan of the popcorn meeting. I'm a person.
Everybody knows that?
Yeah.
How would I know that?
Well, you wouldn't know that, but.
Thanks. Open and honest.
No, but I like the whole take a minute, because I get it. The first thing that you have to do as soon as it's it's workday starts, you're in it, and I feel like sometimes people need that kind of relax breather. How's your teammate doing? How it have that time we're getting coffee in the morning. It's it's more of a how's your team doing this morning? Let's talk, let's chat, let's communicate with each other.
Why don't you just get in 15 minutes earlier?
I mean, I could, but
so you would change the start to the day, and
I would change the start to the day, and I would change the end of the day, because both seem to be chaotic for people, and you need that ease out of it so you can ease into the next part of your day. So I feel like having that
Joel's going to kick us out of the studio because the show's
doing
ending,
something different.
I'm not ending this conversation.
Change up. I would change what the normal flow is.
We're going to do jumping jacks.
Yeah,
I think that'll help.
Yoga. Meditation.
I need yoga.
I would add meditation. I would mandatory meditation.
Absolutely not. You're insane. All right. Great show.
I can't fail though.
That's true. Yeah. All right. I guess we got to put that variable back into it. All right, great show. I'm glad we closed the loop on some of this stuff. This has been a really great conversation.
It was.
I hope that people got a lot out of it. Go and spend some time staring out the window, coming up with the 10 things that make you feel successful. Have a great week. I believe in you.
Oh, I thought you were going to forget it. Just...